Alright, so today we're going to be doing more Desmos activities to just solidify our understanding and give us kind of like a leg up on the upcoming stuff. So the human stopwatch isn't that difficult, and it's from things that we've already done, and we did mystery flag yesterday. So I kind of want to push us and see if we're able to do something from a lesson that we haven't done yet. So I'd like us to try the polygraph on hexagons. What is a polygraph?
Two-side?
No, a polygraph.
Two-sided graph?
So poly means many, actually, but polygraph is something that is used by police or like lawyers, or a polygraph is like a lie detector. So you guys want to, again, go to student.desmos.com. You don't really need a book today. We're just in Chromebooks. And this is going to be our code, 2DCT3K. And what we're going to end up dealing with here is, if you guys have already done this, and then we end up doing it together again as a class. Hey, Gwendolyn, why don't you have a Chromebook? Everyone needs a Chromebook. We have plenty today. So yeah, we have enough. Yesterday we needed to share because we didn't have enough computers, but today a lot of our friends are gone. So what you're going to be doing, and I guess I can throw that up onto the TV. So there's your code. So we first select a person. This guy's got glasses, kind of looks like me, so sure. So has anyone ever played Guess Who?
Yes.
This is essentially like Guess Who. So first it's going to walk you through the activity of how you do this based off like people. So is my person wearing a long sleeve shirt? No. And you're going to end up partnered up with people from the class. Then another question. Is your person wearing glasses? Yes. And then they're going to get rid of everyone not wearing glasses. What might they ask now? No. But that wasn't a great question. I would have gone boy or girl. I know. So, this is a practice round. Right? So I could skip it up here, but I wanted you guys to see like how this works, just like the Guess Who game. So then we're going to actually need a partner. So I actually don't want to be partnered 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I may end up partnered with somebody. So but if I show this up here, it's going to be lame because whoever I get partnered with, you're going to know. But then you're going to select a polygon, and you're going to go through and ask yes or no questions to try to figure out what your partner's polygon is. So start this, and then if and when we have questions, I will field them, but I'm going to freeze my screen and probably pause the video so that I can actually play with someone. So you don't have to do the practice round. You can skip that. But once you choose one and hit next, it's going to partner you up. So let's try this out and see how it goes. Again, I did not do these Desmos activities last year, and so this is like my first time through these. So part of this is like an experiment. All right, so band trip people, we are jumping back into the video. We worked on Desmos for a little bit, but now we're taking homework questions. So Savannah, what question do you got?
It wasn't for any of it.
Is it back in 7?
Yeah.
I'll still field it, but that homework was already due for what it's worth.
I know.
I know. I'm just saying in general for to clarify that for people. What homework?
It was for it was closure 7124, problems like that, where they give you clues to an answer and you have to figure out what the variable is from the start.
1, 2, 4.
Yeah, because it says use the 5-step thing, 5B process. I can't find that anywhere.
You're a liar.
Wow.
Savannah, I love you, but you're a liar. If I go to glossary, if I go to reference and I go to the glossary in my book, I should have really opened that new tab. It's literally the first thing in the glossary.
Yeah, I was thinking it was in like a 4, like an S for 5 or something.
No, literally the number 5D process. Now, I also showed you guys really quickly one day in the textbook. If you wanted to find it in the textbook, you can. It's in a math notes box. I'm surprised that it doesn't give the math notes box right here. But the 5D process was part of Chapter 7. Actually, I will be faster if I just flip through the real textbook. It might have been back in Chapter 6, actually. You don't have to use it. It's just a way to organize, like a guess check, honestly.
Yeah.
So if you want to look up the 5D process and see the math notes box, GOOD. Page 295 is where we can see the example of the 5D process. It's actually in 533. So check it out. The 5D process, the D's just stand for words. Describe and draw. So figure out what in the world you're doing. And then define, do, decide. So if it tells you the base of a rectangle is 13 centimeters longer than the height, and then the perimeter is 58, well, we know a rectangle looks like this, and we could define the base with some value, like h plus 13, or, h could be b minus 13 if we wanted. But if I make this h plus 13, I'm using green, I shouldn't be, and I make this h, and h plus 13, yeah, you're wigging out now. I left my pen over here somewhere. So then, we try it out. Right, so if I make my height 10, and my base is 13, then the perimeter, is it 58? No, it actually comes out to be 66. My guess must be too high, because I'm above that. Now, why we kind of skip over this in Accelerated 7, or like the Compressed 7-8 class, this isn't a very clean method. This is really just guess check. We have a more formalized method to solve problems like this, so I'm not going to use the 5D here, even though it said that we can.
That's what I did with one of the problems, but it started to get harder, so I was like,
Yeah, you don't have to use the 5D. So biologist was sitting near a pond. I wish I was sitting near a pond. He saw frogs and fish trying to eat the dragonflies. He counted a total 89 frogs, fish, dragonfly. So he noticed there were 4 times as many dragonflies as fish, and the frogs were 5 more than twice the number of fish. First thing you gotta do, give variables to things. They do this on purpose. You can't use F easily because we have fish and frogs. So what I'm going to do actually is say my fish are going to be the variable H. My frogs are going to be the variable G, and my dragonflies are going to be the variable D. Just I'm using last letter of fish, last letter of frog, and then dragonflies. Right? So then it says there were 4 times as many dragonflies as fish. 4 times dragonflies as there were fish. So dragonflies are 4 times the fish. So D equals 4H. Right, 4 times the fish. Frogs were 5 more than, right, twice the fish. And then fish is fish. So everything's in H's now. 4H, 2h plus 5, and h. So if I put these together, h plus 4h plus 2h plus 5, that's my fish, my dragonflies, and my frogs. What should that total up to? 89. This is why I don't really teach you guys the 5D process. I don't like it. It's a guess check method, and it's not very clean. It works, and especially if you don't understand things, it can really, it can help you, not have to formalize things like this. But if I can set up an equation like this, it's a lot easier. So do you understand how I got to here?
Yeah, because it says
From there, 4h, 6h, 7h plus 5 equals 89. Now we just solve for h. Subtract 5 from both sides, and then divide by 7. So if I subtract 5 from both sides, 7h equals 84. H equals 12. So I divide by 7.
That's a lot more easy than I was taking small numbers and just, if it works, then it works.
You're guess checking, right?
Yeah, because I didn't know
Guess
what
check
to
isn't
do.
a good strategy. Now, if I use 5D for this, what we would actually do, same exact process. I'm going to switch my screens for a second, except we would set it up differently. We would have 3 columns, and we would label fish, frogs, dragonflies. Total. Does it work?
No, I just chose that because they're all clear taxonomies.
So check it out. For this one, we say fish are fish. Okay, I can just call them F. Or I can call them H to make this really relatable to what we just did. Frogs, the problem tells me, are 2H plus 5. And dragonflies are 4 times the number of fish. We then over here have a column of our guess. So if I guess H is, I don't know, 10, then this, well, really, I could bump it down here to make my life easier. What is fish? Okay, fish is 10. What is frogs? 25. What is dragonflies? 40. What's my total? 75. Does that work for the total that I'm looking for of 89? No, we're too low. So then we make our guess height. Try 11. See if it works. Try 12. See if it works. Or if you know you're way too low, jump. Don't just go to the next one. Jump to 12 or 13 or 14. And then you kind of narrow your way into the right answer. It's the same process, just not as clean. Does that make sense? How the 5D actually works.
And that makes more sense.
So you don't have to use it. It is a strategy that we use so the Math 7 kids can ease into equation solving. Yeah. Which homework?
821.
Which question?
835. I'm so confused on how to branch off into a representative
So we're trying to state whether it would make a representative sample. So we need to remind ourselves of what a representative sample is. So we can come back up here and say a representative sample is a subset that matches the characteristics of the entire population. Right? So we talked yesterday, boys and girls, 7th and 8th, like if we're talking Phoenix. So would every voter on my block be representative of the community? Would randomly picking one house from each block be representative? Would selecting each person at the I Jump Pancake restaurant be representative after church? Right?
No.
Well, that's going to bias towards the church crowd, right? The religious, which, if we're talking like politics, normally, and this is just traditionally like from back when, it may not still be true, but normally, religious people tend to be more Republican just because they're conservative. That's not necessarily true, but if we're trying to generalize. So, asking every voter on your block, maybe. Right? That's like a cluster sample. That's actually kind of convenient sample. It's not really clustered. They do share the common trait of living in the same place, but it's convenience, right? It's easy. We don't really trust convenient samples. It's a way we can do it. We don't really trust it. The I Jump Pancake thing after I wouldn't really care about the I Jump Pancake restaurant if it wasn't after church. That kind of gives it a pretty heavy bias of like that was the church crowd. Ask people who are leaving the twice yearly town hall meeting or visit every 10th person on the county's voter registration list. E's your best one there. Now, B is pretty good also. Randomly pick one house from each block. But who might you be missing if you go randomly pick one house from each block? Does everyone live in a house? No. Some people live in apartments or condos or like whatever. Like if you aren't talking to any of those people and you're only talking to homeowners, you're going to go bias towards homeownership. If you're picking every 10th person on the list, you just have to go wherever they are. So, and really, this wasn't meant to be easy. It's just meant to make you think about like, is this representative or is it biased? Have you guys had the bias conversation on like global cultures connections? Like what is bias and what causes bias and things like that? So like bias isn't necessarily bad or good. It's just something that exists, right? I have biases because of where I grew up. I have biases thinking that y'all are city slickers because you've never been camping. You like turn out a little Appalachian twang. No, like, but I'm making generalizations, right? Like my biases come from my upbringing and like my family, my heritage, my whatever. Like biases are just a thing that exists. But when we are surveying and we are trying to collect as fair of data as possible, we have to try to avoid biases. Does that help with that?
Yeah.
There's not really a right-wrong answer. Just trying to I mean, the right answer, quote unquote, is E's the best way to sample because there shouldn't, like, any biases should kind of cancel out because we're just going to every 10th person on the list, and that list would be alphabetical. Or it might be, like, by address or something, but, like, it's not organized by, like, Republican, Democrat, or, you know, whatever. Other homework questions. Because I am memorizing who's in this room right now, and if you do not turn in your homework on Monday, I will hang you by your toenails and beat you with a wet noodle.
That does not sound
I am lying. I will not do that. That's just a funny threat my choir teacher used to make, and I always thought it was interesting.
I don't like wet noodles.
Who what? 39. Recommended speed on a scenic road is 35 miles per hour. Driving too fast is a hazard, but so is driving too slowly. Safe speeds may be described by the inequality 35. Find a list of at least 5 safe speeds. Determine how to show the entire set of possible solutions. Perhaps by graphing them on a number line, right? Not like an XY axis line, but a number line. So, what does absolute value do? Absolute value, the bars. Makes it positive, right? Absolute value says distance from 0. So this says 35 minus, take away the safe speed, is less than or equal to 10. So it has to be within 10 of 35, essentially. So if we draw a number line.
Could I have Isabel Risley Griffith to the office, please? Izzy, please come to the office.
35 is my safe speed. Or like my speed limit. Recommended speed, I guess they say, not speed limit. Now, if you want to know the real, like, true way we deal with this, we essentially make this like plus or minus 10. if we want to take the absolute values away, and then we would add s to both sides. But if like we don't know how to do absolute value equations yet, like I'm not expecting you to know that. Really, what this is saying is that if my safe speed is like 20, does this work out? No, because 35 minus 20 is 15, and that's not less than or equal to 10. So 35 minus 25, that would work, right? Because that equals 10. So I could go out to 25, and that's a speed that's allowed. It works in my graph. If I do 35 minus 35, that's 0, right? That's less than 10. So any of these work, 35 works, and then what can I go up to, probably? 45. Because think about it. If I have 35 minus 45, and you could guess check your way through this one, actually, that'd be negative 10. But it's positive because absolute value. Is positive 10 less than or equal to 10? Yeah, it's equal to. Right? So and I could try 27 or 28 or 29 or any of those. I could try 39. I could try 42. They all work when I plug them into the equation. So this is my limit on the low side, and this is my limit on the high side. Essentially what this is telling you is your speed compared to the recommended speed has to be within 10. Hey, Connor, that's not good for the mouse. Thank you, John. That's all cables wear out and it starts to not work. Other homework questions? We got like a little over 10 minutes left. Actually, we have just 10 minutes left. No, I lied. You were 13.
There's a blue volume on the radio.
Other questions?
Make sure we hold the bus clean. Yep.
Some of you guys look like you're having too much fun. I'm going to check in on your activity.